It's a busy month. It's a busy month. So most of you know me, but I'm gonna practice on you my little spiel about who I am, if you guys don't mind. So just because I thought it would be fun. So I'm a business and creation coach that helps people to move into the space of freedom, abundance, and way more fun in their businesses, with their bodies, and with their relationships. And the way that I do it is energy sessions, in person, creation sessions online, and this awesome new thing that I'm doing, which is training retreats. So facilitating people to build their own business in creation and energy work. So today, we are talking about a topic that oh, look, there's somebody else. Is it Maura?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I always know iPhone 3 for some reason is Maura. I'm glad it's consistent. Thanks for joining. So I was just saying, this call today is about being the gift beyond the gift of sensitivity. And the reason I even decided to start having this conversation is because so many people that are around me have been mentioning their capacities, their awarenesses. And so as we go along, I'll explain why I believe it's a capacity and an awareness. But here's like the little scenario. Like, so you're in your car, and a couple of you are. How cool is that? You're in your car, you're having a great time, you're feeling good, you're listening to music or listening to this. And then all of a sudden you either arrive at home, at your place of work, or another business, or wherever you're going, and you walk in and it's almost like you've been hit with this energy, and you might not feel like you're getting knocked down, but you're getting wrapped in it, like you're getting cloaked in a whole different energy. And so this call is really about that awareness. So you could, let's say it's your house, and you could walk in and you go, well, I immediately know whose this is, and what am I going to do about it? But I would like to do something totally different. And I would like us to not, I don't know, how many of you in here would like to not be completely taken out by other people's emotions that you were sensing? Yeah. I'm like, me, please, 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 right? All right. So I know Christy's like all hands and feet as well. So I really like to bring these things and make them as fun as possible. So I saw this huge this post that somebody put up the other day of all these women carrying a huge sage stick. And they were like, this is the sage stick. The size of the sage stick is massive because of all the retrogrades and eclipses and all these energies and all these things that are going on. And so I decided to make an acronym that went with SAGE, sort of, how we can be our own sage in the world. And my interesting point of view is not that we're going to ward off negative energies or even push anything off or disconnect from it. We're actually going to move into the space of how we can move with it, utilize it, and actually push it into how we create. Darlene, I love that sage. However, my sage is not spelled the same way because it didn't work. So my sage, if you want to take notes, is SAA, and don't worry, Misty and Vita, I will send notes, IGE, okay? And this is why. So it's still sage. It's like, right. So we'll just have a little fun with it. So the first one is like you've entered a new arena. You know that like your energy was totally different before entering wherever you did. And this actually works even if you like are moving around your house and you're alone and all of a sudden this happened, you can still use it even when you're alone, okay? So the first one goes along with stop, drop, and roll. It's just stop. Find a place if you're like with your family or with a business or something, find a place to be alone. And the reality is one of the greatest places to be alone that nobody's going to bother you unless you have small children is the bathroom. Okay, so go find a space in the bathroom where you can move into the other letters, and just really be willing to take as long of time as you need to work through these. Okay, and so the first A, this is what you could do when you're all alone, is to move into the space of acknowledgement. Anybody who has done anything with me knows it's one of my favorite words in the whole wide world is acknowledgement. And what acknowledgement really is it's the space of gratitude of who you are as a creator. And so when you move into acknowledgement, you can immediately acknowledge the fact that you're aware. The fact that you feel this energy around you means there's an awareness. And so the next A is ask. So ask questions to find out what your awareness is showing you. So you can ask, like, what is this? And then a great one, because you're aware that it could possibly be somebody else's because you just walked in. Would it be beneficial right now to say or do anything about it? Okay. It's a really key question, because sometimes we want to come in and we're aware that, like, our kid or our partner or like somebody in the office is in a bad mood, and you're like, okay, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to like turn their mood around because otherwise this is going to be a day or whatever. And if you actually ask the question, would it be a benefit to do anything about it, to even bring it to the light? It's key, because many times you're going to actually find if you address it, it's only going to amplify it. Okay. Another great question is, do I need to keep this energy inside of me? That's kind of a yes or no. Another of my favorite questions is this inviting me to anything that I can expand with? So I'm trying to think of an example there. So let's say like you walk in and there's just this like energy of boredom, of stress, whatever. You could ask, like, hi, Jan. Thanks for
Hi.
And don't worry, I'm going to send notes and the recording so you can like go backwards and hear out. So I'm going to go into the next part and explain part of that, what you could possibly be inviting there. Another question, I know Misty knows this is one of my favorites, is what else is possible that could move this energy right away? And I don't go to the space of eliminate it or stop it or anything else, because energy want to move. Like they usually create friction or destruction or whatever when they hit something or try to stop something. So if you actually look at the energy as it could possibly be a benefit, you get to have a little bit more fun with it. And another one is, what is the easiest route to joy for you or others? So the next one, the IG, not for Instagram or whatever that, it's your inspired go or inspired movement or inspired action, however you want to say it. I just wanted a G for Sage. So that's why we're doing inspired go. So what is the inspired movement or go that you can do that will move that energy right away? And here's the thing, most of the time we want to address the issue or the feeling that's coming upon us, and we think that the inspired action has to be related to that. Most of the time, hi Melissa, thanks for joining. Most of the time, if we actually don't go in the direction of that, we don't amplify that, we go in a totally different direction. So if you walked in and you're like, dude, I was having so much fun in the car, like laughing and, well, I don't know if I laughed in the car, but singing and, listening to music. And then I walked in and all of a sudden it's super heavy. I would like to stay in the energy. I would like to acknowledge that I'm aware that it's heavy in here, I would like to stay in the energy of like that fun and all that. Is it possible to bring that in without even addressing the heaviness and just bring it to other people? Just bring it. And so what ways can you do that? Will it be received? Generally, I don't know about you guys, but I find that people are willing to receive it as long as I don't acknowledge that they're the downer that caused me to have to bring it in even more, right? It's like if I walk in and I'm like, oh my gosh, to my friend Sam, you're being like mean today. Oh, but let's go outside and play, and so I can change your attitude. He's like, peace out. I don't want to play at all. However, if I walk in and I'm aware that he's like that, and I'm like, I'm going to go out and do this. Anybody want to join me? It's a totally different invitation. And then they get choice, right? They get choice. I mean, that's in my house. That's a kid. Although kids are just as stubborn as adults. Same thing in your office. You know, let's say you're walking into an office that you're in all the time, or even with new people. If you're willing to still be the overflow of who you are and connect with that part of them that is expansive, you can ask questions like, how can I be the invitation to bring more joy here without people even like realizing it, not realizing it, what's the word, feeling like I'm trying to change the mood. Does that make sense? Melissa, what are you thinking? Because I'm like, she's got something to say. No, you don't. Okay.
I'm just agreeing with you because it is. You can walk in a room and influence it just by, well, like you always talk about overflow. In those moments, you can really focus your energy so it creates an overflow, and that can really amplify in the room. So how do you influence that? How do you walk in there? Is it bringing that smile? Is it bringing that joy? What is it that you want to bring to that environment? Right. Do you want to bring conflict? Because are you already on the defensive walking into a room that you want to say something? You had an opinion about something that happened and you haven't let it go yet, and yet you don't want to bring it up, but you are walking in there with your shoulders square and you are like fierce. That influences that energy.
Absolutely. So, yeah. And so when you've done that, how do you feel like people react to you?
Oh, I see an immediate effect. That's the thing, because it comes through and they're already on the defensive, or they're weary of me walking in, because it's like I have a smile on my face and I'm saying hi, but they're like, what's wrong?
Right. Probably, I mean, like most people walk in with a problem, or they want to change things, or they want to take something, and you're just removing all that. You're just being the space of you and receiving the space of them, rather than asking people to change. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't really like it when somebody asks me to change, even if I'm in a bad mood.
No, because sometimes you need to be pissed off.
Right? Yeah. But if it's like, it's just fun, and somebody's willing to invite me or allow me, isn't it interesting? Like, we can allow somebody to be in that space, and don't we like others to honor us when we need to be in that space, work through it, not be changed, and then there's a space where you get to come out of it so much faster because you're not having to resist against somebody's expectations that you shouldn't ever be that way. Yeah. Anybody else have thoughts on this? And hold on, oh no. Okay.
Hey, Tara.
Yes.
I turned my video off because it was freezing up. But so a couple of things is, I agree. I've been in a situation where somebody told me I needed to change my energy, or told somebody I was with that, and it just made it worse. Created a lot of unease. So I have experienced that. And then twice this week I was in line at a store or somewhere, like at a checkout line, and a lady came up behind me, and it felt like she was poking me in the ribs. Like, she wanted me to move out of the way, or whatever her energy was, felt like a poke in the ribs. And I just turned around and I said good morning to her, because I didn't quite know what else to do. So I'm glad you're doing the call, so I can have other ideas of how to, handle it without carrying it with me or taking it personal or that kind of thing.
Yeah. Awesome. And what happened when you just turned around and instead looked at her in the face and said hi?
She didn't look very happy.
Oh,
she was not. No, she didn't. Maybe she didn't feel well. She just didn't. I don't know. She didn't look good, happy to be there at all. So I just turned back around and finished my transaction and got out of the way. But
cool. It's interesting because even in that, obviously you were the person who was in line in front of her and possibly already at the register. There's things that come up to me and it's like, we don't know what people are going through in their life. If they're on their last warning at work and if they're late from their lunch, or if, somebody in their family just passed away, or, whatever. And when we really start to ask the questions of what is pausing, and we don't have to know the answers, but if we start to ask the questions, this is an interesting space for some of you, that when you ask a question, you don't always have to get an answer. It just actually opens you up to what else is possible other than the story that you've been telling yourself. So the story that you were probably telling yourself, Anne, was a lot of she's irritated, I'm in front of her, she's trying to get me out of the way, she's in a hurry, whatever it is. And yet there's more of the story, and it may be that and then some. And so we can start to ask, I'm the director of the energies, and your own life is you're the director of the energy. And so what would you like to create? And how can you be the overflow of kindness, of space and everything else? Personally, there's been times I've been in line and I sense that from somebody, and the easiest thing to do, if I'm not already at the register, is to move out of that space and allow them to go in front. And I just say, I'm not in a hurry. So and most people are like, oh my gosh, no, I didn't mean to do that. And I'm like, no, really, I'd be pleased to have you go in front. Looks like you're in a hurry, not in an accusational way, right? If we do it as a bitch, because we can't. We can be go first, because obviously, that. Or you can, we've all been there. Or we can be feel free, go first. I'm really not in a hurry. And even if you kind of are in a hurry, what's it going to take? An extra couple minutes? Let that person go first, and you might have changed their day. Are we willing to be that energy that directs things everywhere we go, that delights others, even if they don't respond to us in kind? Are we willing to be it? Okay. And I kind of want to go back to this space of, we're really doing this for ourselves. Okay. This is our way of, I'm not into protecting, but it does protect our light by being all that we are. The only way that we're unprotected is when we stop being who we are and we try to change other people around us. Okay? They don't want to be changed. They don't want us to change them, and we don't want them to change us, period. All right? So when we go in and we're the overflow of who we are all the time, unapologetically, and we look at how we can influence the energy that's around us, we just offer it with no strings attached. It's I'm going to stay in the space. I came in my house and I was in a great mood. What's it going to take to stay in the space? Having a conversation about why the space is, why other people aren't in the same mood as I was in, ain't gonna help it. It's gonna bring me down real fast. Going into silence about it ain't gonna help it. Well, what are your ways that you continue that space? I mean, my go-tos are usually, I love to dance and put on loud music. Sometimes that's not a contribution to others. And if you're going into an office, Not sure you can always do that. Sometimes I need to go out for a walk. Key thing with a walk, in a walk, you need to make sure that you're going out for the walk, not to like pound in with every single step how the energy that you just picked up, because some people do that, right? They go out for a walk and they get even deeper entrenched into that mindset. So what do you need to take with you? You might need to take with you music. Me personally, like I actually walk circles now that I'm reading this book called The Circle Maker. I walk circles all the time. I love to make the people in my neighborhood crazy because I walk small circles, so I'm near my house. And on my upswing of my oval circle is like something that I'm asking and to amplify in my own life. And on my downswing of the oval is something that I know somebody else is asking for in their own life. So every single circle includes me and somebody else. Lots of me. I have a lot of asks, a lot of prayers, whatever you want to call them. And so knowing what your go-tos are that you can bring into different arenas is super key. You know, and then going backwards, sorry, the E after the IG, which was in your inspired go, is to enjoy that you are the aware creator that can melt away any energy with the essence of who you are. And actually, it's interesting because we don't just melt it away, we transmute it. Like we actually transform it and we invite other energies onto, like, I like to do this illustration of they're in the car with us, like, you know, and they just get to be a backseat passenger, not a driver, to go, because I'm the driver. Or, you know, they can be sitting next to me, but I'm like, obviously, whatever this energy is has been projected into their life, my life, whatever. Sometimes it's our projections on a situation. It's not even theirs. Like sometimes we think we're walking into a really heavy situation, and yet we're the ones who's bringing all the projections of heavy, right? That's usually me with any crowd. And so what questions and energy can we be to actually receive the energy that's there or would like to be expanded that's there? Does that make any sense?
Did you say it again?
Okay. So what would we like to be the invitation of the energy that's there or would like to be there? So what I mean is, like, you know, I'm going to use my example of the car dealership. I think 2 of you have already heard this. So on whatever day we drove, Melissa, what day was it? 2 days ago? Yeah, okay. So whatever 2 days ago was, Saturday. I promised my son I would go to this car dealership that was having an event for a giveaway. And the top giveaway, the grand prize, was $100,000. Now, who would love $100,000? So I made the drive there, got to the parking lot, and I was like, oh, no. I'm not going in here. I felt like the energy was so heavy, and there's all these people going up, and like just really going there to like win the prize, right? And I was like, and I could just feel all the people inside my projection, like going, oh my gosh, these people don't actually want to buy a car. That's why they did the event. They just want to come and get the prize. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going in anyway because I made a promise. But before I went in, I was like, I know that wherever I go, that I actually transmute energies. So even if the place is like heavy and people are in a bad mood, like I'm just going to see what else would show up. So I wasn't even projecting like, oh, I'm going to come in here and beam light. I was like, whatever, I'm just going to see what's possible. So I went in and they made me go back out to my car to get the flyer. And I was like, all right, I could have left again. I was like, but I'm going back in. So I went back in, and the second person who started speaking to me did want me to buy a car, and I was like, I don't have the time, but thank you so much for asking. Wasn't defensive at all, and just said, you know, I'm really here to fill this out, and I know you guys are here now, so in the future when I'm looking for a car, rock on, I'll find you guys. And he just started asking about what I do. And so it went into this whole conversation about what is energy work. And it was amazing because the man had never heard of energy work. He never even thought there was even a concept that you could expand in that way and change your life in that way. We went up. I did win $5, so rock on. It was great to give my son, who it was his birthday, not $100,000, but who knows how it would like to grow. But as I walked out to my car, he came out and wanted to talk to me more about this thing that he'd never heard of. Now, is he ever going to be a client of mine? It's doubtful, because he actually lives in Tennessee. Did it change the way he thought about his body and what was possible for his body? For sure. Was he completely curious, and is he going to start doing research? Without a doubt. And so to me, I was like, I went into this place, and I mean, he was introducing me to everybody in there. He's like, this girl, if she put her hands on your head, like, you could feel way better. Like, look at him. He's in a bad mood. Look at him. And so to me, I went into a place with a bunch of people who did look like they were super heavy, exhausted, and run down, and left with at least 3 people smiling from the space of something else was possible. And I know they're going to have conversations about that beyond that. So not exactly what I went in there looking for. I don't really care. I chose to go into a place that I was projecting heaviness on, that because I went in there with the question, what else was possible, completely changed. And I had meaningful conversations, which to me is like gold. You know, if I can have meaningful conversations with a car salesman, we are moving in a fabulous direction. And like, I always look at, like, every single place that I go, people are willing to be an energy possibly that they didn't even realize that they had inside of them. So for him, he wanted to feel like more relaxed, more joy, and whatever. And he actually said those things when we were outside. He's like, if I could feel like this all the time, I would love it. Like, how is this even possible? So that's what I mean by, like, amplifying the energy that's already there, and possibly that they don't even know is there, but they would like to have there, just by being the overflow of who you are. Does that make sense at all, Christy? My long-winded.
Yes. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So do you guys have any questions? So fast.
Can we make a comment?
Yeah, I love comments too. Go, Jen.
So I think so much of the time, at least I know for myself, I still focus on what's wrong with me and what's missing. And when we focus into the place of the joy of who we are, then we can share it more with other people. And where was I? I was somewhere I was today that we said, yeah, the only thing people think about is what's wrong. And I hear that all the time, and it is so true. And if we can change that scenario and create a dialogue with people about what's great in your life, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how we change the energy, I think.
Totally. I mean, you and I have been talking a lot about, like, key questions. Like, you know, one of the things I ask to a lot of people that are in my life, what was your favorite part of your day if I'm with them at the end of the day? Because I just like to know, like, what lit you up today? What lights you up? Like, what's the thing that, like, turns you on? Whatever it is, like, what turns you on today? And it's fun to hear. And it's amazing because as you're around people and you ask that question consistently, they look for what was the thing that was my favorite today. Mm-hmm. And they start creating those moments, because it's like, oh, well, I don't want to get to the end of the day and say it was just another day. I just scratched another day off the days of my life, you know? So we can be the inspiration that actually changes the trajectory of somebody's life, not by trying to change them, but by just being in the question of, you know, what were your favorite moments this month? Like, what favorite moments would you like to create? You know, it's super fun. And those are great questions to even ask if you go into an environment where it's heavy. You know, you can start asking some questions. You may need to like just be in there for a little while first. Sometimes the questions are almost like too alarming to somebody because they're so different. And also, like, are we willing for there to be a pregnant pause that happens after our questions? Because if we are asking a question that's so different from what the norm is, people are usually not prepared to answer them. You know, what do you hate? What's going on in the world right now? Boom, people, you know, like it's all over most people's social media, not really so much on mine because of who I interact with. But, you know, those things are top of mind, like what's wrong with your body, what's wrong with your family, you know, all these kinds of things are top of mind. But allowing somebody to have the pause and even diverting your eyes rather than putting the pressure on them to just go, gosh, you know, have you ever thought of like, what was your favorite part of this week or this month or this summer? And what else would you like to create? And then just let them come up with that, because that's a new brainwave or a new brain path that you're helping them to carve and helping yourself to carve. And you can just go, while you're thinking about it, I know it's a different question, like, let me share what mine is. If they're interested, you know, if they're busy, peace out, carry on with your work and we'll talk later, whatever.
Well, I think sometimes you might have to share what's great about your day or your life, because I think sometimes because people are not used to that kind of question, they're maybe not, they don't know what to say, or they don't, they have too big of a wall up there, they're afraid to share or something.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it can be quite vulnerable to share the things that, for some reason, that's almost the space of boasting, right? And so like giving them really the energy as well as the question, by you sharing first, it can melt that wall that says it's really okay in my presence to say how like flipping, you know, delighted you are about your kids or the creations that you just did or what's happening in your business. Like, I really want to celebrate with you rather than take you out at the knees because you're accelerating in your life. You know, that's a lot of energy out there. And so when we're the willingness to be a different energy that says to somebody, you being successful doesn't mean that I can't be successful, and I want to hear about it because it inspires me, opens up a whole lot of things. So thanks for sharing, June. Any other comments and things or questions?
Sarah, actually, I have a question, and I'm going to have to ask it and then like hop off because I'm getting to my appointment. But what about the people who like to kind of like toxic dump on you?
They like to toxic dump on you.
Yeah, like, you know, the people who don't want the shiny, happy, get away from me type. They kind of want to just like spew their negativity. You know what I mean?
Yep. So super cool. There's a couple different ways of, there's probably a myriad of ways, but I'll just give you some right now. Some of those people I've released from my life, I'll be honest, like they love it. And so I would personally go through the sage thing again, stop in their, you know, whether you're with them or not with them, stop and get clear on your energy in there. And then acknowledge that you're aware that that's the way that they are. Ask the next question is, do they love it? Is it actually contributing to them? And this is not a place of judgment. Some people love gossip. They love trauma. They love drama. It's just fun for them. Cool. If you find out that it's fun for them and it's not fun for you, you just like, peace out, enjoy that. I'm going to go and spend more time with people who are actually open to having different kinds of conversation. Even if you're in a group situation, let's say it's your family, okay, and you're in a group situation, if you're in that moment where somebody's dumping on you, and you actually, even just in your head, you say, oh, wow, this is fun for them. They enjoy it. Even though that somebody might be saying, oh, I don't want this in my life. You have to go. I'm going to keep sharing, and then it'll be in the recording for you. So if you're in somebody's space where you know that they're enjoying it, as soon as you validate that inside of your own body, it's like you're just present. You're willing to listen. Some people just want to release. And so you can be that, and then you don't have to take it in. There's a thing that happens when you lock it in and you judge it. It locks into your body because you're like, no way that they want to be like this. This wouldn't be fun for me, so it can't be fun for them. Like, how do I maneuver a way to like help them to change? If they haven't asked you to facilitate them, if they haven't asked you to help them to change, like really asked, and sometimes people ask with their mouth, but their energy says something totally different, always listen to the energy. If they're not really asking to change, honor the fact that that's where they are. Okay? Honor it. That's where you are. Cool. I'm just going to listen, let it pass through. But if it's not always fun for you, then find other people to talk to at your family parties, at gatherings, or find other people to hang out with. You have choice. You get to direct your own life. If you're constantly surrounding yourself, whatever environment you're in, with people with that, it all comes back to you. And this is probably a whole nother call that this just brought up, because I would love to talk about why we create narcissists in our life. Narcissists don't show up unless you are a certain energy, and we keep them in our life until we move that energy. So that's a really great way to almost end this call. But yeah, did you have something to say, Darlene?
Yeah. So the person you were talking about in my life is my mom. And what happens is, if I don't sympathize with her and listen and show her that I'm interested in what she's complaining about, which she loves, she accuses me of not caring about her if I don't worry for her. So what helps me is when I can say interesting point of view, but she lives 3,000 miles away. So it's easier to do on the phone. So when I go and visit, it's a completely different story.
So super cool and like amazing creator that you are, that you created that amount of distance in between that energy for you. And that you can talk on the phone where you can allow her to talk and then give whatever affirmations that she needs. And it's interesting because we resist being the energy that other people desire, that we actually have inside of us. What is the wrongness of sympathizing with somebody who has ailment? Like to go, I'm sorry that you're going through that. I know that we know that, like, that our point of view is you're creating everything. If that's all that they want and that's actually what feeds their life,
yeah,
why not give it? It's no skin off your back to go, gosh, I wouldn't like to be in a situation like you, Mom. That would really suck if I was in, feeling like that. Yeah. I don't even know what I would do with myself if I was like that. Like, I might even go crazy, like, holy, if I, and you don't have to say the words, if I created that in my life, but it's like, you can honor where they're at and even honor what they desire out of you. It's the resistance that exhausts you to being what they desire. And it's not inauthentic. It's actually just allowing yourself to be. you wouldn't choose that. And, you know, it's like, okay, she doesn't want to change. Okay, that's cool.
That's huge. You just like helped me clear 50 years of this.
Well, look at that, like 12:10 on a Monday. Like, what kind of stuff are we gonna do?
You knew I loved you. Wow, that's huge. That's so huge, because I've been always wanting to stop her or fix her or, yeah, like show her she has other choices. She doesn't want other choices.
Mm-mm. No, and all I'll say is, damn it, I don't ever want to be fixed, right?
Yeah.
So most other people don't want to be fixed either. They want to be told that they're freaking amazing, even if they're crying, you know?
Wow.
It's amazing what you're dealing with. Like, you're really strong, you know, to be going through all that every single day, Mom.
And if that's all she needs, why not?
Right? What the hell? Like, just give it. How much fun can you have showing up in a way that actually honors what she would like, not what we want to give?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you.
Welcome. You're welcome. Thanks for asking. I love you.
Mwah.
Right. All right. Yes, go, Christy.
So often, like, I guess if you are being this overflow of ourselves, you know, and wanting to gracefully help or whatever, offer up, but that kind of means that probably most people are exuding like a air of calm and at kind of peace maybe, or like just confidence, like not even like about the boasting and the happiness and the joy that's obvious, you know, within the person or ourselves. And so what do you do with people who are holding you in some kind of like envy or jealousy or something, like as almost, but like trying to, you know, they're not doing it in the way of the celebrating. They're doing it in that way of like wanting to, I don't know if narcissist is a good word for it or not, you know, but really just manipulate a circumstance.
Cool. Oh my gosh, Melissa's laughing because I'm like, we just talked about this. And here's the thing. How many of us on here have felt jealous before?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
How many of us, like, this is like some vulnerability here. How many of us have felt the energy that we actually would love to take somebody out because they're like, they're doing things that we don't think that we can do? Like, have you ever just want to be like, oh my gosh, please just disappear because you're making me crazy. The fact that you're in my life and you're showing me that you can do it and I feel like I can't. Ever felt that way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Melissa, me, Christy. I've definitely felt that way. And so here's the thing. Those people in my life who I felt that way about, thank God they didn't dim their light. Thank God they didn't detour their path because I was feeling jealous or feeling like I couldn't do it. They kept on. And they did it kind of, it's not in spite, but without even a thought of me. Like, even if they were in my life, they just kept going with joyfully without like turning around and going, come on, you can come too. They just kept on going. And because they kept on going, I looked and went, one day, I can do this too. I can do this too. And then I started attracting people in my life where I could ask, how in the F are you doing it? Like, how are you moving from place A to place B that looks like it's like a death cavern in between? And so I started asking the questions and getting out of that space. But because there were people in my life that showed that something else was possible other than the life that I was living that was smaller than I wanted to live, they inspired me. And believe me, at first, it wasn't inspiration. It didn't feel like inspiration. It just felt like this evil, greed, crazy jealousy came out of me, and it was like, gross. So if you're willing to be the allowance for other people to have their own emotions that may actually move them forward and get them out of mediocrity, out of complacency and everything else, it's a kindness. Don't try to change that emotion. Anger, jealousy are awesome, neutral emotions. It's what we do with them. Anger and jealousy are things that people are like, you need to get rid of that. No, 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 no. Use it. What do you need to create in their life? They're forces that will move people. Don't try to stop somebody feeling jealous, because if you try to calm that, they may stay complacent forever. The jealousy will actually get them off their ass into creating. Okay, so allow it to be, and we can be the space of allowing and then carrying on creating. You know, you don't have to do a happy dance that you're making somebody else jealous. You can be the energy of like, what would it take for that to move through them and create? But you might not be the person who's actually facilitating that movement. It might be somebody else that is more neutral to them. This universe is pretty bleeding amazing in how it will show up for people and move them. And, you know, the one who's had 2 concussions this year, somehow like the universe is sometimes has to like take you and shake you and get you out of your head in order to like start receiving in a different way too. So it's willing to come in and give us a little trauma every once in a while in order to divert if we need it. Or we can really flow with these questions. And, you know, obviously we have all the tools. All of us have all the tools and the capacities, but sometimes we still go into a little bit of resistance, because I have to say probably the hardest thing for all of us to do is receive. So the universe is constantly bringing us the ability to receive more from others, receive more from ourselves, and to be the light that we truly are. All right, girls, and all those who, it's all women who even signed up for the recordings. Right, of course. I think the men are too scared to like say that they want one of my recordings. They might, you know, not scared of the information, but just to ask. Dude, I'm putting that out into the universe, because all of a sudden they're going to start showing up now. Go ahead, Christy.
Sorry, the one comment too that you had made about the narcissist, Rosa and I didn't hear. It kind of like, whatever, voided out.
So the main thing is that I'm going to do a different call on narcissism, because what I was saying is, because that's a whole call in itself, and it has to be more than 45 or so minutes. You won't have a narcissist in your life unless you need a narcissist in your life. Okay, and I'm just going to leave it there, because that is not the point of view that is anywhere out in social media, in spiritual world, in most energetic world. And yet, I'm telling you, the minute that you change some of the things, or like start being, anyway, it's a whole call. It's too much. I know it riled a whole lot of things. It's okay. I may end up changing to the next call to that one. The other thing that I always offer at the end of this call is a free, complimentary, whatever you want to call it, call with me. That's 20 to 30 minutes where you get to go into anything that's going on with you personally, and I can give you some things personally that might work for you. Because sometimes on a group call, it doesn't get personal enough. And you can go on beyondthisreality.com/services and just sign up. And I put it in the chat. Super easy. It shows my schedule. Please do it in the month of August. And yes, I know there's not a lot of spaces. Sorry. Sorry, not sorry. So if you find one, grab it right away. Don't leave it for long. Don't leave it now. You go, girl. We can have fun. So it's completely complimentary. And the other thing I do have to share before we go, I do have this training retreat. So if anybody would like to have information about it, people are already signing up. And it's at the amazing Lake Lawn Resort in Wisconsin. It's right on Lake Delavan. And it's going to be kick-ass. It's called the Relational Foundation Retreat, where it's all about the basis of relationships with our body, ourselves, and other people, and bringing that into our business and our personal lives to change things. So it's training so that you take away the tools. There'll be energetic tools as well as creation tools. so that you can bring those into your personal relationships, your business relationships, and completely do a supernova action on your life. So I always say to people, I'm a glutton. I don't want one aspect. I want like the whole life to change, so that your life cracks up into a smile all the time. So if you want information about that too, y'all know how to get a hold of me. It's only for 12 women as well. Only women. Only women. So thanks so much for showing up and listening to how we can be the sage sticks in our own life. And I'll send you guys the recording too and the notes as soon as they're all uploaded and done. And then go on to beyondthisreality.com/services if you would like a free session with me. All right. Love y'all.
Bye.
Thanks for coming. Bye.